From the very first light, this commercial vessel is already lifting giant sharks from the open ocean by the hundreds.
Kilometers of baited hooks rise from the depths, each one a potential sale, a potential loss for shark populations below. When a giant shark appears, the deck explodes into motion, each crew member performing a practiced part in the capture.
Within minutes, several sharks are secured along the gunwale, heavy bodies transformed from predators into inventory.
Each animal is shifted from the capture gear to the ship's own lifting systems, entering a well-rehearsed chain of handling. Hook after hook reveals the morning's luck, some bare, some bearing sharks, whose size promises high prices ashore.
Below, captured sharks ascend slowly, pulled toward a world of steel, noise, and market.
Unwanted species are discarded quickly, while the giant sharks, the moneymakers, are pulled inboard for processing and sale.
A simple counter translates individual lives into growing numbers, a tally of sharks converted into commercial weight.
Soon the deck is lined with giants, their streamlined shapes now motionless, in a world built for profit and volume.
Modern electronics tell the captain where lines lie and how long they've soaked, optimizing each haul for maximum shark catch.
Oceanographic data, temperature gradients, currents, and eddies reveal the invisible boundaries where giant sharks are most likely to gather.
With each new set, the ship extends a curtain of hooks across the water, increasing its reach into shark-rich corridors.
Automation speeds the process, turning baiting into a mechanized routine that can feed thousands of hooks per hour.
Below, bait smells like opportunity, and sharks responding to hunger find themselves connected to a distant, unseen marketplace. In an instant, a feeding reflex becomes a tether, a direct line from ocean predator to factory deck and foreign currency.
High-density hits like this are celebrated on board, a sign that the chosen grounds are still rich in large sharks.
On a simple board, complex ecosystems shrink into codes and columns, a shorthand between sea and sales ledger.
Runoff disappears quickly over the side, the surface swallowing all visible signs of what has been lifted out of the depths.
In the holds, giants rest on crushed ice, their bodies now part of a carefully temperature-controlled commodity chain.
On the factory deck, the sharks transition from catch to raw material, entering a line designed for speed and yield rather than spectacle.
Steel on steel prepares the tools of dissection, ensuring each cut is efficient, controlled, and repeatable for hours on end.
Teams maneuver each heavy body into place, beginning a disassembly process that reveals muscle, cartilage, and organs for different uses.
Large panels of meat are removed in sweeping motions, destined for steaks, fillets, and processed products in distant markets.
Every cut is weighed and recorded, the value of each shark measured in kilograms, before it is ever counted in dollars.
Sorting divides the animal into categories: premium portions, secondary products, and byproducts destined for soups, supplements, and pet foods.
Anatomical diagrams guide the workers, mapping out where maximum profit lies on the body of each giant shark.
Tiny samples are set aside for analysis, turning harvested sharks into data points on contamination, growth, and migration patterns.
Organs and muscle, once part of a powerful swimmer, now become raw material for science, nutraceuticals, and medical products. The processing line never truly stops. As one shark is fully broken down, another arrives, keeping the flow of meat constant and cold. Flash freezing locks in freshness, preserving these giant predators as products that can travel halfway around the world.
Vacuum packaging seals shark meat away from air, identified only by labels and codes that will outlast any memory of the animal itself.
Frozen, boxed, and stacked, the sharks become indistinguishable from other seafood, anonymous units in a cold, humming vault of protein.
In the ship's office, numbers translate directly into revenue, each ton of shark meat tied to a projected stream of dollars.
Catch reports summarize the voyage into columns and totals, reducing ocean predators to lines on a financial statement.
Decisions about how hard to fish are made here, where weather forecasts share space with market prices and remaining quotas.
With holds nearly full, the vessel turns for land, leaving behind invisible gaps where sharks once patrolled the depths.
In port, the shark ship blends with other cargo vessels, Another steel hull delivering goods that began as wild animals.
Each refrigerated box carries the remains of countless sharks, condensed into pallets ready for auction, contracts, and currency exchange.
Paperwork legitimizes the journey, turning frozen shark meat into an approved commodity recognized by borders and banks alike. Wholesale markets are the next stage, where bulk shark shipments are broken down into lots and offers for buyers with deep pockets.
Experienced buyers read subtle clues in the flesh, judging quality that will influence menus, margins, and profit margins downstream.
Prices adjust in real time, reacting to supply, demand, and rumors of how many giant sharks remain on the high seas.
$80,000, $80,000, sold!
In a flurry of shouted offers and silent signals, whole containers of shark meat change hands.
Signatures lock in transactions worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, the financial echo of hunts that began far offshore.
Bundles of cash and digital transfers move alongside the pallets, turning living sharks into diversified portfolios and corporate profits.
From the wholesale yard, sharks begin to scatter, fanning out through a web of trucks and trains feeding restaurants and retailers. Screens in climate-controlled offices orchestrate the flow, ensuring giant shark meat arrives on schedule to meet urban appetites. In kitchens, shark meat regains individuality, framed not as bulk commodity, but as a feature ingredient for premium dishes.
For diners, the meal is a sensory experience, often disconnected from the industrial ship and the thousands of sharks behind this single portion.
Around the table, shark becomes a symbol of luxury or adventure, sold not by species, but by flavor and exclusivity.
Each check links back through distributors to the original vessel, a chain of dollars that begins with hooks and bait.
A simple tap completes the cycle, connecting a few seconds at the table to weeks of industrial shark fishing at sea. In stores, shark shares shelves with other fish, its story reduced to a few marketing phrases and a barcoded sticker.
For most buyers, the decision is about taste and price, not about the distant factory ship that supplies these fillets.
Some packaging offers transparency, but the fine print is easy to miss amid the rush of everyday shopping. In open markets, shark presence is more obvious. Their distinctive forms a reminder that this meat once patrolled deep blue water.
For vendors, sharks are daily business, each sale a small step in turning marine predators into local currency and livelihoods.
Cash earned at the stall pays for rent, school fees, and fuel, blurring lines between economic need and ecological cost.
In some cities, shark products become part of nightlife and status, advertised in bright lights far from the dark deck of the ship.
Back in the ocean, the absence of large sharks begins to show, with ecosystems subtly reshaped in their wake.
Where once there were many, now single sharks patrol territories increasingly stripped of their former residents.
Comparisons between past and present reveal a stark decline, even where fishing fleets remain convinced of continued abundance.
Data from long-term surveys show clear drops in many shark populations, especially large, slow-growing species targeted for meat and trade.
Conservation lists classify many giant sharks as threatened, reflecting how commercial demand now outpaces nature's ability to replace them.
Without sharks, some prey populations boom, consuming other species in turn, reshaping entire food webs from top to bottom.
On some reefs, the loss of large sharks contributes to imbalances that ripple down to coral health and local fisheries.
Conservation groups highlight that sharks do not recognize borders, complicating efforts to protect them from fleets operating in international waters.
Public campaigns push for tighter regulations, turning concern for sharks into signatures, policy proposals, and sometimes boycotts of shark products.
In city squares, the fate of giant sharks becomes a visible cause, contested between economic arguments and ecological warnings.
Management meetings weigh jobs against conservation, trying to decide how many sharks can be taken while still leaving some for the future.
New rules appear on paper as paragraphs and numbers, but at sea they determine how many hooks are set and where.
Patrol vessels board commercial ships, checking logs and cargo to ensure shark catches fall within agreed limits, at least officially. Electronic monitoring is meant to reduce underreporting, turning each shark into a data point that regulators can review from shore.
Despite monitoring, suspicious patterns still appear, suggesting that unregulated shark fishing continues beyond official tallies and lawful zones.
From the industry's perspective, fuel prices, crew wages, and loans push fleets to maximize every trip, often by targeting high-value sharks.
Many captains quietly acknowledge that the sharks they see today are smaller and less numerous than those they remember from decades past.
Old photos of enormous sharks caught near shore now look almost mythical compared to the average sizes landed today.
Local fishers often share waters with industrial fleets, competing with massive ships that can harvest in days what small boats once took in a season.
From above, the contrast is stark. A handful of small boats close to shore and a single giant vessel.
Shark meat can concentrate pollutants accumulated over long lifespans, raising questions about safety even as demand grows.
Graphs show that some giant sharks in certain regions carry chemical burdens that complicate their sale and consumption.
The quality control tries to ensure that the products earned in hard conditions at sea meet food safety standards and marketing expectations on land.
Even rejected shipments represent sharks that will never reproduce, lost from the population regardless of whether their meat is sold or thrown away.
Scarcity can become a selling point, an ironic twist in which dwindling numbers make shark dishes more attractive and more expensive.
Images of shark meals travel further and faster than the boats themselves, reinforcing demand through online displays of taste and wealth.
Some regions struggle with mixed messages, advertising sharks as both cuisine and characters in conservation-driven tourism campaigns.
Dive tourism offers another value system, where living sharks generate recurring income without leaving the water or entering a factory freezer.
In some communities, live sharks now bring in more dollars through tourism than they ever did as fillets and soup ingredients.
Those who have changed professions describe a different relationship to sharks, one that trades harpoons for guide ropes and underwater cameras.
Corporate decisions behind closed doors determine how heavily shark meat is promoted, influencing demand in far-off supermarkets and restaurants.
Charts project growth, turning expected catches into expected earnings, sometimes with little mention of ecological limits or long-term risk.
Financial institutions play a quieter role, funding new ships that will seek giant sharks wherever they remain profitable to catch.
Contracts sometimes reward higher volumes, creating incentives that can clash with calls for restraint and sustainable harvests.
Once offloaded and paid, the vessel gears up again, ready to repeat the cycle as long as there are sharks worth chasing. Pallets of bait and gear come aboard, each hook and leader representing another possible connection between a giant shark and a global market.
Crew members receive advances to support families while they're at sea, their personal economies tied tightly to how many sharks are caught.
Even on board, news of shark declines is hard to ignore, creating a quiet tension between work and the world's changing expectations.
Real-time price data now influence not just where ships go, but which species they prioritize when every day at sea costs money.
Once again, steel and strategy converge, headed routes where giant sharks migrate.
Below the bobbing markers, sharks move with evolutionary confidence, unaware that baited hooks are already drifting in their path.
Not every shark is caught. Many encounters end with narrow misses that leave no visible trace for scientists or fishers.
Others are less fortunate. Their first sign of danger, the sudden, unyielding pull of a line toward the surface.
Passive individuals pose handling challenges, but also promise premium returns, commanding attention and effort from everyone on deck.
Measurements document these giants even as they are removed, data that may later appear in scientific reports and marketing alike.
Basic biological information is captured in seconds, one of the few acknowledgments of the living animal behind the product line. High-yield days force the crew to expand operations, accelerating the rhythm in which sharks are broken down into commercial forms.
Quick, practiced cuts follow anatomical landmarks, turning once powerful swimmers into neat, standardized slabs of meat.
Cartilage from giant sharks is marketed for joints and wellness, extending the value of each animal far beyond the dinner plate.
On production lines, shark parts become pills and powders, sold to consumers seeking health enhancements with little awareness of ocean impacts.
Industry expos showcase shark products to global buyers, presenting them as just one more option in an expanding ocean of seafood choices.
Sales pitches focus on taste, texture, and profit margins, seldom mentioning how slowly many shark species reproduce and recover.
Long-term contracts secure future shipments, effectively reserving portions of future shark catches years before the animals are actually caught.
Money flows in the opposite direction of shark meat. Dollars and yen and euros converging on the companies that outfit and operate these big ships.
Scientists present the other side of the ledger, showing how high-volume shark fisheries have reshaped populations in a few human generations.
For many young people, giant sharks now appear first as examples in conservation lectures, rather than as trophies or menu items.
Decision makers. Decision makers must weigh economic benefits, jobs, exports, tax revenue, against warnings about.
Some proposals call for gradually reducing targeted shark fishing, redirecting fleets toward species that reproduce faster and are less vulnerable.
Industry voices worry about livelihoods and sunk investments, questioning who will pay the cost of leaving sharks in the water.
Workshops promote new gear designs and seasonal closures that could reduce shark catches while preserving some of the industry's income.
Trials suggest that changes in hook shape, bait, and timing can lower shark bycatch without eliminating fishing altogether. Tagging live sharks provides rich data about where they go, offering guidance on where fishing pressure could be reduced most effectively. Maps built from satellite tags show heavy overlap between shark migrations and industrial fishing lanes.
Inside well-enforced reserves, giant sharks can still thrive, offering a glimpse of what oceans once looked like before large-scale commercial exploitation.
Simple signs mark complex policy decisions, physically separating zones of extraction from zones intended for ecological recovery. Some vessels now reroute around protected zones, reshaping their patterns of effort at the suggestion or insistence of new regulations.
Consumer choices, though small individually, can signal to markets that demand is shifting away from giant shark products toward less vulnerable species.
Unsold shark meat hints at evolving preferences, where some shoppers now factor species and sustainability into their purchases.
For the next generation, sharks are increasingly framed as vital guardians of ocean balance, not just as dangerous monsters or dishes on a menu.
Children's drawings capture the tension of our time, depicting sharks both as living beings and as products tagged with price symbols.
Each giant shark that remains embodies resilience, having survived nets, hooks, and industrial fleets that reach across entire oceans.
To the eye, the ocean still appears boundless, its surface hiding the deep and the policies that decide what lives and dies within it.
by choosing which scenes to juxtapose: factory decks, cache, reefs, and classrooms.
Paused on a single image of a crowded deck, the scale of extraction becomes hard to dismiss as abstract or distant. Side by side, industrial harvest and protected havens show two possible futures for giant sharks under human influence.
Seeing the chain from hook to dollars can prompt difficult questions. How much is too much? And who decides when enough is enough?
Individual decisions cannot change the entire industry overnight, but they can nudge demand in directions that give sharks a better chance.
If fishing pressure is reduced and habitats protected, some populations of giant sharks may still recover. From orbit, even the largest ship appears small, yet its path traces profound changes in the communities of...
Statistics compress this story into stark numbers, pairing counts of sharks taken with the dollars earned from their absence in the sea.
While one column lists fuel, wages, and maintenance, another catalogs revenue from shark meat, byproducts, and long-term contracts. Even successful voyages now exist in a changing landscape, where new rules and public opinion press against business as usual.
Between trips, the vessel becomes just another dark silhouette, its decks briefly empty of sharks, hooks, and the hustle of commerce.
Elsewhere, away from fleets and markets, sharks still move as they always have, following currents, prey, and ancient internal maps.
In that eye, we glimpse a world measured not in dollars or quotas, but in depths, distances, and generations. The future of giant sharks will be written in how we balance extraction and protection, industry and restraint, on a truly global scale.
As children learn about oceans, they inherit not just knowledge of sharks, but the consequences of how we have chosen to catch and sell them.
Commercial fleets operate across many seas at once, multiplying the impact of every hook, every haul, every dollar made from shark flesh.
From far above, shark migrations and shipping lanes become intertwined threads, a tapestry of life and commerce across the planet's waters.
In the end, the story of big ships catching giant sharks for dollars forces us to ask how much we will take and what we are willing to leave in the sea.